Hi, everybody. Wishing all of you a very good evening. Thank you for joining us on a Thursday evening. I'm sure most of you may have returned from your offices or startups. Some of you returned from your school or college or university. But it is good to have you. Thank you for joining in. We're just going to start in a couple of minutes from now. But I am extremely grateful to you guys for joining in. We are hosting Northeastern University, United States this evening. And we've got a couple of course offerings that we're essentially going to speak about. We're going to talk about the US higher education ecosystem. We're going to talk about the top and the most emergent courses available in the United States at this point. What are some of the most lucrative, conducive options to pursue your careers in within the United States? But I think even more importantly, we're going to speak about how do you choose the right school and the right course for yourself, and how do you do all of that and still avail a good enough scholarship for you to earn an affordable degree and from a good high-ranked institution in America. For those of you who are still joining in or have just joined in, wishing all of you a very good evening. We've got Northeastern University with us today, and I'm just going to start the webinar officially in a couple of minutes from now. Before we hit 6:05, we should be able to go live. The other part of this is there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom tab that you can see. Please use that to ask us any questions at all that you have about criteria, emerging courses, which career options to take, how do you avail scholarships, how do you choose the right school. All of that can be asked and sought as information on this webinar. And I will start with introductions in 1 minute from now. Meanwhile, if you guys want to grab your notepads and pens, now is a good time to be doing that. The other thing is, I want you guys to be acquainted with the fact that webinars are mostly data intensive. So you may want to shut down any tabs that you may have on, which are streaming on any video other than this. Otherwise, the quality or your experience may suffer, or you may not be able to hear and see us optimally. So please do that. Again, I would repeat, there's a Q&A button at the bottom tab of your Zoom accounts. So you may want to use that for putting down any question or that you may have. I'll make our guests wait for another 60 seconds, and before we hit 6:05, should be able to start. Well, I think now is a great time. Hi, everybody. Wishing all of you a very good evening. Finally, thank you so much for joining us. We're in conversation with Northeastern University, United States of America, the 44th top university nationally and 164 on Times Higher Education rankings, making it the top 1% universities in the world. I am Praneeth. I am the head of university partnerships at upGrad Abroad. And upGrad Abroad, to keep it very brief, is a higher educational platform that has its own universities, its tech platform, and we work with several schools which are high ranked, one of which is Northeastern University, on a pioneering model in which students can start their master's or bachelor's degrees online in India, complete a portion of it or some courses, then eventually transfer to some of the higher ranked schools across the world. But right now, we're talking about Northeastern, one of our flagship university partners, the highest ranked partner we've had till date in America and across the world. Northeastern is not only one of the most sought after schools for Indian students, but is a leader in higher ed in and within the United States. It's ranked number 1 for its co-op courses, number 4th for its employability services, and Northeastern is an undisputed leader in higher ed across the United States. We have with us Joe Brock, who's the leader of marketing at College of Professional Studies. We've got with us Chris Bollick, who's the Associate Dean for Graduate Studies at the College of Professional Studies in Northeastern. We've got Mariemma Thompson, who's the Senior Director of Marketing, Recruitment, and Enrollments at Northeastern University. And finally, we've got Uwa, who is the Associate Dean of Global Network and Product Development at Northeastern CPS. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Joe for him to introduce Northeastern University. And right after, I'm going to ask a couple of quick rapid-fire Q&A to Joe. And meanwhile, I am on the lookout for the Q&A button that's at the bottommost tab of your screen. Please make sure you're using it. Ask us anything that you'd like us to answer about Northeastern or about STEM ed in the US or in general, pursuing your bachelor's and master's in America. Over to you, Joe.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We're happy to be here and visit with you for a little while this evening and talk about Northeastern. We do have a presentation that we'll be going through shortly, but Northeastern, as Praneet said, is one of the premier institutions in the United States. We are extremely well known for our experiential learning. And I have a colleague who will be joining us later that is the director of that area for College of Professional Studies. And we can talk more with her about that. But the value proposition that Northeastern brings truly is our experiential learning. And especially in the College of Professional Studies, we focus on faculty who bring real world experience to the classroom. And then our experiential learning through co-op and what we call XN programs bring you into the workforce within the United States with major companies across the country, that you also get that hands-on experience while you're going to school in a US company, actually working on projects, real life projects, not theoretical. So this gives you an invaluable leg up as you complete your education and go on into your career path, because you've had that real world experience and an international experience as well. So that's one thing we're very proud of at Northeastern. We have 13 locations across the US, Canada, and the UK. And so we've got a very large footprint and it's growing. And we're also home. Oh, there's Yvonne. She just joined us, Yvonne Rogers. She's our director of experiential learning. I was just talking about the value of the co-op and experiential learning, Yvonne. So, and I'll let you talk about that more when we go through the presentation. But that's kind of, so Northeastern, just adding to what Praneet said, is head and shoulders above any other schools in the US and in the experiential learning and actually learning real world in the classroom and also in the companies. So with that, Praneet, I don't know if you want to start your questions, and Chris and Uva and Yvonne and I will do our best to answer them for you, and then we can launch into the day.
Absolutely. Before I start, I just want to introduce Yvonne, who's the Director of Experiential Learning at Northeastern University, CPS. Hi, Yvonne. It is great to have you with us.
Hello, it's good to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Awesome. I'm so excited to be here.
Likewise. So my first question for the day is for you, Yvonne. Joe talked a lot about experiential learning. Joe talked a lot about Northeastern's standards and Northeastern's take on experiential learning and why it's one of the most powerful forms of studies. And takes the highest form of impact on the learning outcomes. With that said, can you explain a little bit more about how do co-op courses actually run, and how has Northeastern emerged to be #1 in its place for co-op courses in America? And for a normal international student, what would it really mean to be studying with a co-op or without it? How does co-op give them a huge competitive advantage in one?
Thank you. Great question. And I hope that I can answer this and other questions that people might have related to experiential learning and co-op in particular. Co-op is a signature program, and it certainly sets us apart from other institutions, and we take great pride in that. I will say that I was a co-op student like many years ago, and it really transformed the way I thought about my career, honestly, and enabled me an opportunity to really try things that I was learning in the classroom and apply it in a practical way and really continue to hone those skills. And for us as an institution, and I've worked with many employers that have hired co-op students and have run co-op programs myself, you can see the benefits all the way around. I think one of the things that is really important to us is that we are setting students up for success in their career, and whatever that looks like for you, by really working with students from the very beginning and giving them the tools and the resources that they need to support them on their career journey. And certainly in North America and in the US, that may look different than what others are accustomed to in other parts of the world. So it's all contextualized to the area in which you're studying. And so we make a really concerted effort to work with students right when they get to Northeastern, right when they enroll, and set them up in a course that's really focused on some of the key elements of that job search. And for us, a lot of that is involved with your resume or your CV and your cover letter and interviewing skills and thinking about how you build your network. Because that's the other beautiful thing about Northeastern is our alumni population that is vast and global. That is the network from which we draw from all the time. So it's really about building your network and building your own personal brand, because everybody's on their unique journey. And I think that's really important to stress, is that you're on your unique journey and you have your specific career goals. So we're really helping to support you along that journey through our coursework and through our programming. And not for nothing, but Northeastern does have a world-class career services unit that has been globally recognized as one of the best in the world. And so we really collaborate and partner with our career services colleagues so that there's robust support all around students, again, as they're focused on their career journey. And all of that in preparation for the actual seeking a job and the supports that you would get along the way as you look for a job and secure employment. I hope that's like kind of getting to your question.
Yes. So if I had to trace it back to how a student's journey looks like. So for example, for everyone who's just joined us, I am speaking to Northeastern University this evening, and we're talking about the significance of co-op, and Northeastern has been a leader in America, #1 across the United States for its co-op courses. And Yvonne, I wanted to ask you, how does this look like for students? I mean, when you're looking at a student's journey, they start their grad course at Northeastern. Let's assume they're doing the first semester. How early do they go for a co-op? How long is it? And for someone who's someone who's doing an MS Analytics, how would it look like?
Sure. So in practical terms, I would say in your very first term or in your second term, you would enroll in a course, the course that I was describing, that would give you some of the skills and tools that you need to begin a job search. We always want students to dedicate the time that is required to seek employment. We work with a number of employers and we work with our students to set them up for employment. So in your the actual first time that you would be able to go out on co-op to actually enroll in a co-op program, which is work experience outside of the classroom with an employer partner, would be after 3 consecutive terms of study. So you have 1 full academic year that you are preparing for the search, you're doing programming, you're preparing your materials, you're conducting your search. And then after those 3 academic terms, or I shouldn't say 3, it's 1 full year. So it can be 2 semesters for our undergrads or 3 academic quarters for our graduate students. You would be enrolled in classes, preparing yourself for that search, conducting your search, and then start employment after 1 year of study. After 1 year of study, you can start to begin your employment. The maximum amount of time that an employer will take on a co-op student is generally 6 months. On the graduate side, you could do a 3-month co-op or a 6-month co-op. So you would be working full-time with an employer partner that you've interviewed with, they've selected you, they've hired you, they're paying you for that employment, for the duration of your co-op. During that first year, what's really, really important is that you are mastering skills, understanding theory in the classroom so that you can apply that and really be a productive, impactful employee in the workplace. In the workplace, you're learning and honing those skills and bringing that knowledge back into the classroom. So it's really part of your education in a very intentional way.
Got it. Thank you so much for that. I hope everyone's got a sense and a hit of what co-op courses look like and how much can they actually constructively impact your employability in the United States. They actually give you a chance during your course to go out in the industry, work, learn and accelerate your outcomes, and then come back to the classroom with those learnings and finally do your capstone. So with that said, the most important part is where we're headed now with Chris. For everyone who's just joined in, we're talking to Northeastern University this evening, talking about some of the STEM courses and the non-STEM degree offerings that we have with Northeastern as upGrad, where you're allowed to study some part of the initial coursework online through our university partners, IIIT Bangalore and IMT Ghaziabad, as well as our partners for undergrad, Golden Gate University in the United States. I just want at this point, every single viewer to know that with Northeastern's partnership with upGrad, we can bring down the cost of your grad degree with scholarships in some of Northeastern's campuses in the United States down to 20 lakh Indian rupees instead of the normal course that you would have done at Northeastern Boston. We're not only giving you scholarships up to 9,000 USD, but ensuring that you get 12 transfer credits when you enter Northeastern through upGrad. So one semester can completely be waived off if you're doing and fulfilling the requisite criteria of the coursework in India. In terms of undergrad, which is a 4-year bachelor's degree in America, you can do up to 2 full years of your undergrad coursework in India, whether you go after 1 year or after 2. The total cost of your undergrad degree comes down to about 30 lakh rupees. Northeastern is further giving scholarships on it. And on a general scale, a master's would cost you about 65 to 70 lakhs, which we brought down to almost 20 to 25 lakhs. An undergrad degree in America would be beyond 1 CR, which we've brought down to almost 30 lakhs. That's the kind of affordability Northeastern is bringing to academically bright and meritorious Indian students for them to study at Northeastern, which is one of the top 50 schools in America, #1 for its co-op, #4, like Yvonne mentioned, within the US for its employability services, and a global leader in co-ops. That said, Chris, I'd love to ask you now, which are some of the courses that we're bringing on an undergrad and grad level in this partnership?
Yeah, thank you, Praneet. Great question. And across our programs that we are providing this opportunity to transfer in credits is a lot of our STEM-focused programs, either in analytics, project management, applied machine intelligence. And it's really showcasing our emphasis on innovation, problem solving, and critical thinking within those career fields, which are some of the hottest career fields in the moment in a global economy, because each of those industries are really, capitalizing on data analysis, data sets, as well as, the new generative AI. We're closely looking at that and how it's going to impact the future of those professions, as well as our curriculum. And like we've alluded to before, we are able to stay on top of the real world experiences through a couple avenues that really impact our STEM education. One of that is bringing in that experiential learning opportunities, those real world projects that you're going to see in the jobs that you're getting after graduation or during co-op. And we're able to do that through partnerships with the Yvonne's team and Northeastern University Shared Services, as well as a very high representation of scholar practitioners or industry professionals that are teaching in our classrooms. We have well over 800 active faculty that are still employed in industry. And this is allowing us to capture what is current in those fields, bring it into the classroom, and share that information and knowledge with you in these STEM programs.
While Chris was taking us through the STEM degrees that we brought, I just wanted you guys to know which are some of the degrees that we're bringing the MPS Analytics, MPS Applied Machine Intelligence, MS Project Management, which is both in the US and the Canadian campuses of Northeastern. And on the bachelor's front, we've got BS Analytics, BS Digital Communication and Media, BS Management, and BS IT. With this, I'm just gonna jump into the PowerPoint with Joe Brock, who's here with us. But I think before we do that, I just wanted to introduce Federico Ling from Northeastern, who's the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Enrollment Management, for him to say a quick hello to everyone and share why is Northeastern one of the most sought after schools, as per him, for Indian students who wish to study in the topmost schools in America.
Thank you so much, Pranit. It's great to be here, and it's great to see you all and to have so many people attending this webinar. And why Northeastern? And I can give you a very quick example. I'm from Mexico originally, and I moved to the United States probably 11 years ago, right? And when I moved here, I learned the power of connections. And what Yvonne was mentioning of, building your brand and building your own career, it's one of the most powerful things that you can do to advance your professional skills and your professional career in not only the US, in any part of the world. After the pandemic, we learned that, we are absolutely interconnected, and the future of the workplace has changed so much that, if you are not able to articulate and bridge the gap between your studies in the university and the workplace, and to adapt to these new flexible pathways to enter the workforce in a better way, you will not go anywhere, basically, right? So this is the new future workplace and the future of work, if you will. So what we're trying to do at Northeastern is to give you those tools and the opportunity to come here, to make connections, to learn how to apply, the things that you're learning in the classroom, and then apply those things in the workplace, and use those connections and put them to good use. So Northeastern is number one in this program, in the co-op program. This experiential learning will give you the ability to test drive your career, to learn, to see those things that you're, saying and thinking in your head, you're passionate about, and to apply them into your daily life. So by coming to Northeastern, you will have this opportunity. You will learn from the top. You will make these connections, and you will build your brand. And then you will go back to India or to any country in the world that you want. And then you will have these abilities, and you will have the right skill set to enter the future of the workplace, much, much better position and with much better tools. So I have seen that, and I'm a witness of that, not being from the US, but from another country, how this experiential learning has helped me so much. So I really encourage all of you to come to Northeastern, to apply for this program and to join us. We're waiting for you. And it's great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Freddy. At this point, I just want to introduce the courses that we've brought one more time for students who've just joined us. Wishing all of you a very good evening. We're talking to Northeastern University this evening and our partnership with them, in which you can do a couple of your initial coursework and units in India and eventually transfer to Northeastern University, get 12 credits transferred on a graduate level and up to 60 credits transferred on an undergrad level. Just going to quickly share my screen because I know most of you are here and are asking rapidly and asking us constantly on the amount of scholarships that you get with this arrangement. And I'm just going to present my screen for you to get a clearer view on which are some of the courses that we're doing. So on a bachelor's level, we're doing analytics, digital communication and media, BS management, BS IT. In master's, we're doing MPS analytics, MPS applied machine intelligence, MS project management. When I say you transfer 12 units, that's essentially one full semester of your grad coursework. And when I say 60 credits in bachelor's or 1+3 or 2+2, that's 1 year in India on our Hyderabad campus or 2 years in India on our Hyderabad campus. This is the kind of the type or the amount of scholarship that you're going to be getting with the upGrad partnership with Northeastern. These are available in some campuses outside of Boston, Toronto, and Vancouver. In fact, all campuses outside of Boston, Toronto, Vancouver, wherever these courses are running, is where these scholarships are available. Up to 9,000 USD on analytics, 9K on applied machine intelligence, and up to 7K on project management. And for bachelor's, because it's a very competitive price of 16,230 USD a year for a top 50 school in America, we're giving additional $1,000 of tuition waiver for all upgrad students. But at this point, Fedi, Joe, Chris, can one of you just let us know, how do we expect students to understand the difference between MS and MPS?
Yeah, I can answer that. Within the MS, the Masters of Science, there's the focus on definitely the technical aspect of it, and the actually project management is the MS in project management. I just now saw that distinction. And the MPS is the Masters of Professional Studies, and that applies to analytics and applied machine intelligence. And that's really where we're taking on more of the professional aspect of it and looking at the technical side of it as well. They're still both very highly valued graduate degrees. One distinction is, if students are interested in pursuing additional research at the doctorate level, usually the MS is highly sought after because, a lot of the MS components are looking at, research and thesis components as well. So.
Got that. So essentially, to summarize, if it was an MS, it's more theory research intensive, and because it's MPS, it's more applied, it's more experiential. Yes?
Yeah, in some instances, but still the college professional studies is primarily focused on the professional and experiential content within our programs. So we are heavily focused on experiential as opposed to research, but there are additional research components throughout our programs as well.
Absolutely, I got that. A lot of you are asking on the Q&A, how many campuses does Northeastern have? And I'm just going to give it to Joe to take you through the kind of number of campuses. I see the Miami campus may be missing at this point, but we've got a Florida campus as well that is there. I'm going to pass the baton to Joe to take you through the campuses.
Thank you, Praneet. So you mentioned Miami. Miami is a brand new campus for us, and it's just opening. It's not currently what we call in the US F1 certified for international programs. So that's one reason why it's not on here. And then you'll see we have campuses on the West Coast, campuses in Canada. We've got one over in London. We have and a number of them on the East Coast of the US as well. Each one, obviously Boston is the home campus and the biggest one, but each of our other campuses, has their own portfolio of programs that they offer. And the West Coast, you've got the advantage of being in one of the biggest high-tech hubs in the world, in the California Bay Area. And then we have growing presence in Canada and Toronto and Vancouver. And then, of course, our East Coast, each of those campuses are in fantastic markets that offer a lot, both from employers, culture, and everything else. So we're pretty well spread out there. And this is the beginning. We'll still have more in the works that will be coming as time goes by. Want to go to the next slide?
Yes, Joe. Sure.
All right. And we've already talked a lot about Northeastern. One of the questions that comes up that we didn't really talk about, we've got elite level academic resources. Yvonne mentioned the career development. Northeastern is a major research university. It's got an R1 ranking, which is the top ranking in the US. And then the other big thing that Yvonne mentioned is we have over 230,000 alumni all around the world, 3,300 corporate partners in 140 countries. So it's a huge, huge network. And then we've been Northeastern. We'll be celebrating our 125th anniversary next year. In the College of Professional Studies, roots go back to the very beginning of Northeastern when it started 125 years ago. We became a college of our own in 1960, but all of Northeastern is in good standing with the New England Commission of Higher Education, which is the regional accreditor recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. We've been continually accredited with them since 1940. So we've got very good standing on the accreditation side. And then as you saw in those slides, we've got some programmatic accreditation for some of the other programs. If you want to go to the next one. Oh, one more. All right. So look at, as I mentioned, College of Professional Studies has been around since 1960. We are focused on adult professional learners. We've got a transformative, results-driven education. And experiential is woven into everything. And one of the things that Yvonne mentioned, and I think Chris mentioned as well, the value of that experiential learning as you go into the job market is invaluable. It gives you such a leg up on having that practical, real-world, hands-on experience. And so that is what College of Professional Studies is about. We are, if not the largest, one of the top 2 largest colleges within Northeastern University, and has a larger footprint across our global network of campuses as well. So just want to give you a little bit of information about that. And
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Just wanted you to signify and sort of speak more about what does an R1 university actually mean for an international student, and how does it make one heck of a difference in the kind of outcomes that they achieve?
So this means, and Chris and Uwe can probably, because this is our research is very faculty focused, obviously, and R1 ranking in the US is a top ranking, and I will be honest, the levels, it means that you've got a top tier faculty that is involved in research, solving real world problems on a daily basis. And it can be, the topics that the research is on ranges all over the place. We in College of Professional Studies have some entrepreneurship research. We've got education research going on. And this means you're learning from top tier faculty that are researching and understanding the world's problems. And these are the people you'd be learning from. Chris or Uwe, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think the classification of R1 also emphasizes our ability to secure funding within private organizations as well as industry to pursue research at the university levels, and also how we have dedicated faculty that are focused in different research areas throughout their doctoral degrees, that contribute back to not only higher education, but also the industries that they represent. So it's really helping advance industry and education at the same time through a joint partnership with the university and corporate organizations.
Thanks, Chris. For everybody who's just joined in, good evening. We're speaking to Northeastern University right now, talking about which are some of the bachelor's and master's degree offerings that we're introducing for you guys to start initially in India and then eventually transfer to the campus at Boston and their other campuses across US and Canada. While Joe talks more about what we got at Northeastern, which are some of the scholarships, degrees, life at Northeastern. I just want you to know that we're looking at the Q&A button right now, and it is going to be appreciated if you can put down as many questions as you may have. In about 5 minutes from now, we're going to jump into Q&A and put it forward to the employability services, the academics, and the enrollment department of Northeastern. So make sure any question that you have, please put it down in the Q&A box immediately. Joe, the baton is with you now.
Oh, okay. So if you want to go back.
Yes.
To slide 5, I think it is.
Oh, one second. Sorry. There you go.
There we go. Oh, there we go. So another thing I want to talk about the College of Professional Studies. We're all about you, the students. We want to help you transform your goals into reality and unleash your potential. That's what we're all here for. Our faculty recognizes, your whole life experience and applies that to their industry expertise and applies their industry expertise to meet you where you are and take you where you want to go. And then while you're here, we try to build a community with you. We have all sorts of networking, professional development, learning networks that are an essential part of our experience in the College of Professional Studies at Northeastern. So we just wanted you to be aware of what we have to offer in these areas. And then we'll go to the next slide. Chris is going to talk a little bit just about the breadth of college professional studies, even though right now we have a curated set of programs that we're
yeah, even though we're focusing on a certain portfolio of programs in this to accepting the transfer credits, the College of Professional Studies has a wide variety of undergraduate or bachelor's programs as well as graduate programs. And as a prospective student coming into Northeastern and the College of Professional Studies, a great way to look at this is as you complete the core requirements of any of the bachelor's or graduate programs, we have a multitude of elective options that are shared across all of our curriculum that you can take, as well as customize a specialization or a concentration in your chosen career path that will really help you transform your experiences, whether you're a career transitioner, looking to get into a new field, or if you're wanting to enhance your current position, or if you're a new employee, going into an institution for the first time. We really offer a lot of opportunities, whether through the badges that we have that are supplemental to the degree. You can take a certain selected courses, get awarded a badge, maybe in agile project management or data analytics, that you can share on your resume or put on LinkedIn as your profile as you're going through the program. This really helps kind of showcase what you're learning as you go through, and really help you gain an advantage, if you will, in your job search for potential employers.
Thanks, Chris. And we've already seen this slide a couple of times, but Uwe, I wonder if you would elaborate on like that third column. Each of our programs offers. What does this really mean for them?
Yeah, I'm happy to. What we try to do in the program is to have the same offer, the same outline of a course across the different campuses. So it doesn't matter if you are in the BS Analytics in a certain location like in Boston or somewhere else, or then beginning fall 24 in the MS in Analytics, Applied Machine Intelligence, Project Management. You will find the same academic rigor, the same offer provided to you, our students. It also certainly is the same if you're coming from a 1+3 or 2+2 format with credits, or if you're starting fresh at Northeastern. And that goes back to the rubrics we are using, the assignments we are using, and the grading that is applied in this circumstance. I like to highlight the experiential learning again. So we talked about co-op a few times, and what an incredible difference it makes if you have that experience. Embedded in our programs is what we call experiential learning. So in a course, you might be faced with data or web challenges that organization that we are working with is posting to our students, to our faculty, or our faculty is coming with challenges into the classroom that go back to real world experiences. In that regard, I'd like to remind you that Northeastern works a lot with working professionals as faculty. So not only will we bring real world cases into the classroom via our working professionals, we also make sure that we are up to date so that we know what is happening in the world around us and how we adjust our courses to that. And that certainly contributes to the innovative character of our programs, as well as to the rigor that we are talking about. Joe?
Thank you.
Joe, I'm just going to take a little bit of break here and just ask a couple of questions that the audience has started pouring in. We've now got 72 open questions from them, and I'm just going to start taking them one by one with Chris, yourself, Uva, Yvonne, or Mariema. So let's go one by one. What is the duration of the master's degree? A master's degree in America, especially in Northeastern, is going to be 45 credits wide. You could do it in over 18 months to 24 months, depending on your speed. With upGrad, because you're doing you're doing an initial 12 credits of graduate coursework in India. You're supposed to do 33. So now I'm going to go back to Chris and ask him, how long would 33 credits take, Chris?
Yeah, on average, our graduate students are completing 9 quarter hours a term. So if I do my math right, that's, I believe, close to 4 terms or quarters, if you will. And that's going to be extended if a student chooses to do co-op, whether a 3-month option or a 6-month option, that will be extended. So students can still expect to, depending on their course load, how many courses they want to take, it could still be 12 months to 24 months, depending on those factors.
Got it. So just to expand on what Chris said, if you're taking a co-op with your coursework, this means, like Yvonne mentioned, it can go as long as 6 more months because you're doing a co-op, you're working outside. And like Yvonne said, Yvonne, if I'm not wrong, you said after 3 successful terms is when they can actually begin signing up for a co-op. And then, of course, it's a choice that do they want to finish all the 4 terms, then go for a co-op, come back, or do they want to do 3 terms, go for a co-op and come back? No?
Actually, so students would complete those 3 academic terms for our graduate students and then go out on a co-op. Students do need to come back to their academic program of study to complete their program. So the co-op does not come at the end. It needs to come before the completion of.
Perfect. Thank you. What are the exams we need to take for admission to Northeastern? Joe, Chris, do we need GRE or GMAT? Of course, with upGrad, because you're doing an initial coursework in India, which is extensive and rigorous, you don't need that. But in general, Chris and Joe, do you need GRE, GMAT?
No, we don't need the GRE or GMAT. There are some additional admissions criteria, in addition to, the standard statement of purpose letter, as well as English proficiency scores that we look at as well. But no GRE or GMAT is required.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Just to go back to what you just mentioned, Chris and Joe, there's one student who's asking, what is the criteria to get scholarship for a student pursuing MS? So I would, of course, let Joe and Chris expand on this, but my viewpoint on this is when you sign up as an upGrad student in one of these courses with us, there are 2 master's degree offerings missing here. So we've got MPS and Analytics, MPS Applied Machine Intelligence, MS Project Management, and finally MS Organizational Leadership that we've got. All of these courses come with a scholarship about $9K on the entire coursework. If you're studying with upGrad outside of the Boston campus, and if you want to know which campuses are there, you've got the scholarship campus is going to be Seattle, Oakland, Silicon Valley, Charlotte, Arlington, Nahant, and Portland, Maine. So if you want to get a good look of which courses are available where, I'd want to refer you to upGrad Abroad's website or Northeastern CPS's website. Is there any PG management courses? Yes, we've got an MS Project Management and MS Organizational Leadership, both of which are with Northeastern CPS, both of which are through upGrad's IMT coursework. So you do IMT for 11 months, you get 12 units of waiver that, like Chris said, that's spread over 2 terms, 9 units in one and then 9 units in, and then 3 units in the next one. So you more or less, you say 1 complete term, 1.5 term. I want to know about difference between analytics and project management MPS in terms of future prospects. I pass that to Chris, but prior to that, Chris, can you quickly tell us, can courses like analytics and PM actually attract students, and are they open to students which are coming from a non-technical field? Can they be from any bachelor's domain?
Yes, within the project management program, students are able to come into that program without any prior project management experience and take our foundational courses and move through the program that way. Within analytics, I'll definitely allow Uwe to expand on this as the former faculty director over the analytics program, but there are certain, I guess, baselines or guides that, I guess, previous educational or professional experience that we want to make sure students have in order to be successful in that program. And Uwe, you want to jump in and kind of share what some of those criteria are?
Yeah, for sure. Between the, if you allow me that quick comment, Chris, there are opportunities in project management to study analytics as well in terms of a concentration. So that opportunity exists. And I'd just like to expand a little bit on that, what Chris said. In terms of going into the analytics program, yes, we will have an opportunity to look into experiences, especially in statistics and maths. And if those experiences exist, then students can go in a little bit more accelerated form into the program. However, I would like to make sure that everybody on this call understands that the core courses were developed in a way that also those that have limited experiences will get the full set of knowledge that is required to build a solid foundation and then to go into the more advanced concentrations afterwards. A little bit different with the applied intelligence, Praneet, if I may add that. That is, when we talk about something like applied machine intelligence, that essentially is a program that is an applied artificial intelligence and machine learning program. Yeah. That requires a little bit more knowledge, especially around Python as one of the program languages. Here it is, so you see it in the middle bullet point here, especially on Python and machine learning. But also here, nothing to worry about. So we offer a little bridge, if you like, or an opportunity to learn through the program and through specifically developed pathways, the knowledge that is required to succeed in those programs. So back to you.
Got that. Just wanted everyone to know that I've now presented on my screen the courses on an undergrad and grad level that we have with Northeastern CPS. These are courses that Northeastern is offering through the upGrad partnership with them, where you do an initial coursework in India and then eventually transfer to the Northeastern Boston and outside of Boston campuses, some of which are mentioned: Oakland, Seattle, Silicon Valley, Portland, Maine, and Arlington. That said, some of the Northeastern degrees are now offered on a scholarship of $9,000 USD. With an estimated tuition coming out as low as 22,667. That's almost a little north of 17 lakh rupees for a top 50 school in America. That is the amount of scholarship that we're willing to give for students who can demonstrate their academic excellence and ease into academic rigor with IIIT Bangalore and IMT Ghaziabad courseworks that are available on upgrad.com. The reason why we're insisting on this is that you can start your Northeastern degree right now as you're speaking to us, do the initial coursework. You don't have to wait until January or the next September to start it. but just started right now, finish your initial coursework, save up to 1 complete semester or two to 1.5 terms, and then eventually move and do the Northeastern degree at an affordable price. You still get the OPT, you still get the regular Northeastern University degrees, just that you start early. With the bachelor's, you can do up to 2 years on our campus in Hyderabad. We've now got the upGrad Golden Gate University campus. I would, at this point, love to invite Chris and Joe to talk about the 2+2 or the 1+3 setup, and the fact that Northeastern is open to accepting some of these students who start in India on our campus and then move to a bachelor's degree. Chris and Joe, is there any difference in outcome for a student who does complete 4 years or who's coming after a year of gen ed?
No, I think the outcome would be the same. At the end, you're still having the undergrad degree that we're offering, whether it be analytics, project management, or management, information technology, et cetera. The time in at Northeastern, I think with a 1+3, if you're completing the 3 years at Northeastern in the College of Professional Studies, there may be more opportunity to pursue co-op within that 1+3 format. The 2+2 format, you still have to complete 2 semesters in order to gain co-op as well. So I think the outcome is the same. It's just really depending on how long or, what is the opportunity you want to spend in Boston or, for the undergrad programs. Joe, do you want to elaborate any on that?
No, I mean, the bachelor's completion programs go back to they're the roots of College of Professional Studies. We've been doing bachelor's completion programs for many, 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 many years. So we have this down. We, do articulation, program mapping, which we've already done with upGrad, so that you come right in, whether you've completed 1 year abroad and coming in to finish up your final 3 years, or you've taken 2 years in India and then you come over. It's the same program, same learning outcomes, same Northeastern degree, and all of the prestige that comes with that.
Thanks, Joe. I'd love to go to Yvonne now and ask her, how does a student journey from an undergrad perspective look like, Yvonne? If they're moving to Northeastern after a year, of course, they're saving tons of money because for a normal first year in India or up to 2 years in India would be as low as about 10,000 USD for both the years. And then they spend 16 to 30 every year at Northeastern. So they save a lot of living costs, saving almost 50 lakh Indian rupees. After that, how does the journey look like if they're doing 1+3 or 2+2? How does the co-op happen? And can they take more than one co-op?
So in terms of our undergrad programs, similar to our graduate programs, students will take 1 full year of study before they participate in a co-op. And so that would equal 2 semesters here in the US before they can complete their first co-op. Similarly, we will set them up with our prep course, our career management course that will take them through all of the basic fundamentals of their job search in their very first term. So we are preparing them for their job search in their very first term. They're learning, they're getting the classroom experience that is essential so that they can make an impact by the time that they're working after those first 2 semesters. And it's important that they're taking the classes that are going to allow them to be most impactful in industry, and then again, bring that experience in industry back into the classroom. Now, depending on the duration of time a student is here studying in the States, there may be the ability to do more than 1 co-op, but it really does depend on the amount of time that they'll be spending here in the classroom. So we work with students and our Office of Global Studies to help process their curricular practical training documentation, and then preserving that OPT upon graduation. So there is a possibility that they can do more than the 1 co-op, but generally undergraduate students would do 1 co-op, potentially 2, again, depending on the duration of the time in the classroom.
Thanks, Yvonne. That does help. Is the net cost of the bachelor's program for the 2 years in Northeastern? Nat, because you asked me this. So if you were doing a bachelor's course in Northeastern for all 4 years, your tuition fee would be somewhere between 64 to 65,000 US dollars. That's essentially 53 lakh Indian rupees, and your living cost would somewhere be another 65 lakhs, so around 1.3 CR. And essentially, if you're doing with upGrad, you're spending a total of, give me 1 second and I will come back to you. You're spending about 60 lakhs and your degree is done with Northeastern. And like Ron mentioned, you can do up to 2 co-ops, and that makes you a lot more employable in the US market. And of course, it maximizes the human capital. It does work on your personal brand and helps you network. He's asked me, can I get a Jan intake if I start now? Yes, you can. Can you please post the link of the courses here? I'd request my colleague to post the link of all courses that we have with Northeastern. India, discover college placement. Yvonne, I think the next one's for you is, it typically wants to know the employability rate of a Northeastern grad after a co-op. Do we have a number of that?
I will say, I don't have a hard and fast number, because a lot of this depends on, programs and interests of students too. The one thing, and this was said a couple of times, I think that the idea that the skills that you obtain by working with an employer and having that to add to your resume or to your CV are invaluable. Really being able to showcase and demonstrate the knowledge that you've gained and that practical experience sets you up beyond Northeastern for your full-time employment. So we do see a number of students really find great success. Also, that network that we've talked a lot about, in the network that you're building by engaging in these co-op experiences and in some of the project-based work that's integrated into our programs is essential. Your network is super, super powerful. And then also thinking about the breadth of Northeastern alumni that are there to support other alums as well in the employment track. So I think that, having the opportunity to engage in this absolutely sets you up for greater success in full and long-term employment.
Thanks, Yvonne. Lovely to know that. Could you please share about those? So this is done. Please elaborate the qualification criteria for your BS courses. I jumped to Mariama at this point. Mariama, what are some of the criteria that we've got for the MS courses and the BS degrees that we're offering? And on a general level, of course, this would depend on which domain they're coming from, but on a GPA level, what is it that we're expecting?
Typically for bachelor's within CPS, we look at a GPA of 2.5 and an English test score of 79 on TOEFL, 6.5 on IELTS, 105 on Duolingo, or 53 on PTE.
Perfect. And for a grad course?
Graduate, we look at a GPA of 2.5 for bachelor's. Then we require the English test scores. The requirements are the same. We need 2 letters of recommendation, a statement of purpose in addition.
Got that. And like Uva and Chris were mentioning, if you're going for a technical course like analytics or applied AI and machine intelligence, you need typically a good or a high grade in mathematics, statistics, and programming. So that's another thing I'm assuming is looked for, right? Yes?
That is
So
correct.
go ahead, Marianne. Okay, no, sure. Go ahead. That's fine.
Or please go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So I'd just like to re-emphasize the Master's of Professional Studies in Analytics. And so the BS in Analytics has offers the opportunity for a broad group of students with very diverse backgrounds in terms of education. So we developed the entry courses that will build a foundation for the programs in a way that you are familiarized with the most important up-to-date technology and understanding around math and statistics, which are cornerstones of both programs. And then the Masters in Applied Machine Intelligence, which I mentioned earlier, is essentially an applied AI and ML version, looks especially into the background into Python. There is a Python test, if you like, that we do. And if the test comes out in a way that we feel comfortable together with the student, together with you, that you can go into the program, you just go ahead, right ahead in the core courses. If we see that there's a need to educate a little bit further, we do that, and we have the opportunity. So I would say don't worry about that entry. We prepare our students well to succeed in the classroom as well as in the program. Praneeth.
Thanks, Uva. Got that. And I hope the one who asked this, as I can see, I don't have the name. It's called anonymous attendee, but I'm hoping the question has been answered. At this point, I just want to take a quick pause and let everyone know we're talking to Northeastern University this evening, talking about the strategic arrangement academically that we've got with Northeastern, where students do initial part of the coursework in India, up to 2 years at the undergrad level, up to 1 complete term, actually 1.5 complete terms at the graduate level, where they're getting 12 credits of transfer at the grad level, 60 credits at the undergrad level within India. I did see someone asking me which school are they studying in India. So it's called Golden Gate University, San Francisco, America, which has a campus now in India, in Hyderabad, where you do the first 2 years. That said, what is the duration of masters with co-op? So like Yvonne mentioned, co-ops can be 3 to 6 months, maximum of 6 months, but should not, does not necessarily go beyond that. Is it paid? I'd love to go back to Yvonne and take her opinion, but just so you know, not all co-ops are paid, but I could still go back to Yvonne and ask her take on this.
This, our co-op, they're largely paid. Actually, I would say the vast majority of them are paid, and I always recommend that students accept employment that is paid. So unpaid is not necessarily something that we like to engage in at all.
Thanks, Yvonne. Is a 3-year undergrad degree valid to pursue master's? 100% yes. I can still go back to Chris, ask him for his expert opinion.
Yes, fully qualifies you to pursue the master's degree. So 100%.
Thanks, Chris. And of course, when you're studying with upGrad, you're not essentially going as a 3-year bachelor degree holder. You're doing another additional year of graduate coursework in India, whether it's 8 months in terms of technology from IIIT Bangalore, India's #1 private tech school, or IMT, which is another 11 months and is one of the most sought after B schools in India. So you're doing a little above 2 years, which makes you completely accepted in Northeastern. Can you please tell me the duration this is done? Are these STEM degrees? So we've got 3 bachelor degrees that are STEM: BS Analytics, BS IT, and BS Digital Communication and Media. That all 3 are STEM. BS Management is a non-STEM degree. We can go back to Chris and ask about the +1 options that we've got with BS Management. And besides that, on a graduate level, we've got MS Analytics, MS Informatics, MS IT, MS Analytics, MS Informatics, MS Applied Machine Intelligence, and finally MS Project Management, 4 degrees which are STEM, and MS Organizational Leadership, that's a non-STEM degree. So all of the STEM degrees that I spoke about get 1 + 2 years of OPT, and the Organizational Leadership degree in America is a non-STEM degree and gets 1 year of work visa or OPT. I'd love to go back to Chris at this point. And Chris, for the Toronto and Vancouver campus, if they're doing 12 credits in India and they're doing 33 in Canada, how long or how stretched can this degree get so that they can get a 3-year work visa in Canada, or can they not get it?
I believe they have to complete 2 years in Canada, so I'm not sure
If they can do that, okay.
if that would work out that way.
So in Canada, do we also offer co-ops, Siobhan? Yes, we do.
Yes.
Sorry, I was trying to come off mute quickly. Yes, we do.
You do. Got that. And if there's a student, Yvonne, who's studying the Northeastern course in Canada and would love to come to the United States for a co-op, how feasible or viable is that?
That's actually quite challenging. And I will tell you that there are ample opportunities in Canada for our students. It's a little bit more challenging, just being completely transparent.
Got that. And Chris, for the 33 credits in Canada, do you follow the same term structure as you would in the United States?
Yes, no matter which campus you're attending, the programs are offered in the same format, the same classes. We have a lot of shared instructors, that teach, the hybrid components of the courses. So it's the exact same experience, depending on which campus you go to from a curricular perspective.
Thank you. We'll just take a quick second out of this and let everyone know that I pasted the link of the 4 master's courses that we've gone live with in the chat box. What I would recommend you is please visit these. My colleague has put down some of the bachelor links as well. But if you go to upgradabroad.com in general, in all our entirety, everything that we do with Northeastern is mentioned very well there. So you may want to explore all the courses. Is there anything else? Can you explain credit hours? I'd let Chris do that, of course. And besides, I think we're all set. Chris, one last question for you. And once you're done, I'm just going to summarize everything and then we close the webinar. So Chris, they want to know what a credit really means. And what does it mean if when I say that 12 credits are going to be transferred on grad level, 60 credits are going to be transferred on undergrad level. What does this really mean?
Sure. Yeah, within the graduate programs, most of our courses are what we call 3 credits. And the credit is a standard unit of learning. It indicates how much classroom time students have. So our grad programs are 3 credits over a quarter system. The quarter system is a 12-week format. So a lot of our classes are 12 weeks, some are 6 if they're considered half term. So essentially, if you're transferring in 12 graduate credits, that's equivalent to 1 full term. And then, going into another term, because most typically students are taking 9 credits a term in the graduate space. In undergrad, again, those courses are semester, which goes up to 15 weeks. And so that's essentially the same unit is the time of instruction in the classroom that you're getting per course. And with each course being 3 semester hours or 3 credits, by essentially you transferring in 20 semester hours, that's essentially equivalent to 20 classes that you would be able to transfer in.
Thanks, Chris. Last one for Mariam. If there's a student who scores less than 2.5 GPA in their bachelor's, but a little above, let's say if they come to you with a master's degree with a little above 3 GPA, what do you do then? So a little south of 2.5 in bachelor's, but way above 3 GPA in master's, and they'd want to do a double master's and then come to Northeastern. How do you handle that? Would you still accept them?
Yes, all applications are reviewed holistically. So it's not just decision is not made just on the undergraduate GPA. So the SOP is reviewed, the language score is reviewed, the master's transcript GPA is reviewed, as well as undergraduate. So if he has performed really well for the master's, of course, we would highly recommend him, the student, to apply.
Perfect. And Mariam, that also leads me to one more doubt. Is some of these students, because they're going to be coming through upGrad, is the graduate diploma that they do, which is a year-long diploma, or the graduate certificate I do for 8 months, is that also going to be factored in? Because the requirement for that is a 3 GPA. So would that also be factored in when you completely look at their app to the school?
Absolutely. Any post-secondary academic work that has been completed will be considered along with their application when they are applying to Northeastern for a graduate program.
Perfect. So with that, we come to an end to the webinar. To summarize it for everyone who's still with us, upGrad Abroad and Northeastern have signed up a strategic academic partnership in which students are allowed to do an initial coursework on the undergrad or grad level in India, get a credit transfer made towards their undergrad or grad degrees at Northeastern University, top 50 schools in the United States, #1 for its co-op. Students start in India and do up to 2 years on UG, up to 1.5 complete terms on the grad level. They can choose between STEM degrees and non-STEM. On the undergrad degrees, they save up to 50 lakh rupees. On the grad degrees, they save up to 35 to 40 lakh rupees. And finally, Northeastern's extending scholarships up to 9,000 United States dollars on some of its grad degrees that they're offering with upGrad. All of these courses, all of this information is listed down on the upgradabroad.com website. So feel free to explore that, browse that. And on behalf of upGrad, I'd like to thank the entire team at Northeastern, Yvonne, Joe, Chris, Mariam, Uva, and Fedi, who were here and did the best job that we could have done to launch this official partnership. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a good evening.
you.